In our first video on how to beat the Tokyo Ghouls, we discussed how to beat the Quincy in multiple interesting ways. We talked about how a chain of ghoul cafes is a great way to securely connect ghouls, shield them from threats, and allow them to exchange valuable information and live normally without being discovered. However, in Tokyo Ghoul S, the biggest threats aren't humans, but the ghouls. Namely, the powerful ghoul named Tsukiyama, or also called the Gourmet. In this video, we will look at the story of Tokyo Ghoul S, check out the mistakes our characters make, and discover multiple ways on how to beat the Gourmet in this movie. In the opening scene, we can see how our villain is preying on his latest victim, inside of her penthouse apartment. I guess a CCTV system doesn't help much when dealing with ghouls. Anyway, as he preys on her, purposely makes her cry, then explains her calmly that her tears are the perfect topping to increase her eyeballs' taste, he short-handedly rips them out, enjoys them like a pair of tasty cocktail cherries, and throws his first victim through the window into her death. Poor lady. Now, if you look closely here, you may be able to spot Logan Paul taking a selfie somewhere in the background, but the point here is this. This dude, the Gourmet I mean, is a pretty sick guy. Not only is he wasting a lot of food, but he also seems to be kind of picky with his dinner, right? If you have watched Hannibal, you can see the similarities between those characters. And that is something that is scary, but can also be used to our advantage. Because you see, these guys are undoubtedly full of themselves, and exactly that trait can be exploited to turn the tables. However, meanwhile, Kaneki is more or less integrated well into the ghoul society at Tentiko Cafe, where he still works alongside Toka and Yoshimura-san. As we all know, ghouls love fresh human meat. Not only is it the only food that they can actually digest, but it also gives them the strength to excel in their superhuman power. In Tokyo Ghoul S though, Kaneki still refuses to eat human meat, and therefore his ability to fight is very limited. If I would wake up as a ghoul tomorrow morning and would have to eat human flesh to survive, I am not sure if I could actually do that. On the other hand, if I didn't, I would probably starve since coffee, the only other substance ghouls can digest, wouldn't be enough to nourish my body. And this is exactly the same issue that Kaneki struggles with as well. When he trains with Toka, he can't keep up with her because he refuses to eat a healthy, human meat-based diet. He realizes that in his current state, he wouldn't stand a chance to defend what is important to him, which, as we all know, are the people at the Cafe Antico. Let's have a look at our villain. As we can see, this dude enjoys the finer things in life. Apart from those other ruthless ghouls, this dude's chefs cook fancy sausages, desserts, and who knows what else. One of the things I would like to point out is that the nuances in this guy's personality suggest that he's rather an arrogant guy, very sure about himself, and probably deems himself worthier than anybody around him. This is a great starting point to create our strategy from. But first, let us have a look at the first encounter between him and Kaneki. So, a few days have passed since the training. A few days have also passed since our enemy has ripped that poor woman's eyes out. It is midday when Kaneki and Toka work at the cafe, when suddenly the Gourmet enters and takes a seat. Toka knows he is trouble and whispers a few warning words to Kaneki, which is way too late. If there were any specific ghouls that are especially dangerous, they should have been communicated on day one. Sort of like a How to Be a Ghoul 101, a guide for newly turned monsters, I don't know. Especially since our Kaneki is socially awkward and a complete idiot when dealing with strangers. But it's too late for that now. Toka gets agitated, and our boy Kaneki can't help but be the most polite dude in the room. Introverts can relate. It doesn't take a second until the Gourmet gently inhales Kaneki's scent, which is weird, but it's also a red flag, right? At least Kaneki isn't a minor. Okay, I guess he is, but it's based on an anime, so I guess that makes sense then. Having a strange dude sniffing your scent is flattering, I guess, but perhaps inappropriate a bit. But it most definitely is a red flag. Now here's the deal. It turns out that Kaneki, who's basically half human, half ghoul, has an especially fragrant scent. This intrigues Tsukiyama so much that he starts daydreaming about Kaneki's taste. Wow. Now the problem here is that Kaneki is a complete loner, right? He barely got any friends, he's quite awkward, and most definitely an introvert as well. Without his books, he would have already succumbed to loneliness a long time ago. And the Gourmet, being a real psychopath, knows that straight away and exploits that weakness without any hesitation. That's right, he preys on Kaneki again, but this time when he's alone the next day. The only thing worse than a ghoul who targets you is a psychopathic ghoul that targets you. After this speech, Kaneki is completely convinced that Tsukiyama is a good person and nothing to be afraid of, which of course, only a person without any sense for social interaction would think. As Tsukiyama departs, Kaneki is picked up by Renji, who brings him to the Helter Skelter bar where the next trap awaits. There, he meets Ittori for the first time, and to be frank, I would be stuttering through that conversation just as much. She basically tells him about a secret involving his school transformation, but tells him that she would only reveal it if he finds a special ghoul restaurant that can only be found when you know where it is. But she also adds that if he doesn't know where to start looking, perhaps asking Tsukiyama the Gourmet is the best way to go about it. That is a red flag, right? What are the odds that this happens just the day after you have first met Tsukiyama? There is no way this is a coincidence. And anyway, Kaneki is convinced and inquires about the restaurant the next time he meets the Gourmet. And everything works out. Just a few days later, he is indeed going to that restaurant with the Gourmet himself. When he gets there, he has to take a different entrance, shower himself, and even dress himself up. Now, I'm not sure about this, but if you go to a restaurant and you're required to take an in-house shower, dress up with an in-house suit, plus you are completely secluded from everyone else, you may want to make sure that it isn't you that is on the menu. Now, as Kaneki finally enters the dining hall, he is shocked by seeing a man trapped on an operation table being cut in pieces and then eaten by the guests. Now, I don't really get why he's so shocked. This is a ghoul restaurant, and we all know ghouls only eat human flesh. It should have been clear the entire time. At this moment, I can't help but feel like our character might be a little bit dull. Now, before he can realize what is actually happening, he's captured himself and trapped onto the table. This is a bad situation, and to be frank, the signs were there for multiple days. Anyway, after the Gourmet makes a speech, prepares to finally taste his newest discovery, a one-eyed ghoul, he attempts to have Kaneki be cut apart. However, just in time, the Quincy raid the place, shoot down each and every ghoul inside, and Kaneki can successfully escape. But at this point, it is very unlikely that the Gourmet would hold still, right? He has already revealed his true colors, so you must stay vigilant. I'm a huge proponent of attack is the best defense. Waiting around and doing nothing would almost certainly result in you being attacked, or even worse, abducted or trapped. Therefore, I suggest taking the initiative and go for the first strike. The Gourmet is a gourmet. That means his taste is more sophisticated than anybody else's. This is a weakness that we can exploit. Since Kaneki's scent is special, it would be an easy task to lure the Gourmet into a trap and then have him being captured. In fact, when I think about it, perhaps even a cooperation between us and the Quincy could become a valuable option. We can't trust them, I know, but we do know they want to eradicate the ghouls. The Gourmet, undoubtedly one of the strongest ghouls around, is the perfect target. Delivering him to them with a guarantee of you staying alive is a pretty good option, albeit a bit risky. Now, some days after the incident, Kaneki goes for a walk and ends up seeing Nishio being beaten up by a couple of thugs. Now, let me point out that him going for a casual stroll through the neighborhood after the last incident is a pretty bad idea. The only right thing to do at this point is to stay low and avoid being alone. But Kaneki intervenes. For the first time, he bundles his strength, easily beats up the thugs, and is able to rescue Nishio. Now, to be honest, this was actually a pretty good fight. Even though Nishiki tried to murder our protagonist's best friend in the first part, at this point, saving this guy's ass is a great idea, because now he owes you. And nothing goes over a strong person owing you a favor, especially when you yourself are facing a powerful enemy in the upcoming days. Therefore, this intervention might have actually been a great strategy. Thumbs up. Now, he brings Nishiki home, meets his girlfriend, and ends up realizing that she is a human, but knows about their secrets of being ghouls. Perplexed, Kaneki doesn't really know how to react, but is eventually convinced that she is one of the rare good people out there. Even though gaining new allies is a good idea, the fact that she's human is very bad. Because while a ghoul can take care of themselves, a human can't really compete. Kaneki, carelessly as always, goes for another casual stroll, but this time with her. This is dumb, because now she is a target, and that is exactly what happens next. So Kaneki goes back to the Antico Cafe, opens his human meat emergency stash, picks out a few fillets, and is about to go back to Nishio to prep him up again. But before he can leave, he and Toka are caught up by a dinner invitation from the Gourmet. The catch is, yep, you guessed it right, he has already captured Nishio's girlfriend, the human, and holds her captive. Another L for Team Kaneki. and this could have easily been avoided. But our character just doesn't seem to understand that mingling with humans makes them targets. And now they are once again at a disadvantage. Now this is the proof basically that the first move would have been favorable, because now they are lured into an obvious trap but can't neglect it because their friend's life is on the line. Just like in a game of chess, white, the color that moves first, is normally at a slight advantage, and black almost always begins with more defensive moves. What our characters need to do is figure out their next step. They should analyze if there are any other pieces left hanging, just like Nishio's girlfriend before. And also, if they make their next move, what options does the Gourmet have to respond? It is clear that saving Nishio's girlfriend has priority, but storming into the trap without a plan like our characters do is a pretty bad strategy. The better way for them to respond would have been to gather more ghouls. Toka would have probably joined, and perhaps even Renji. Then there is Nishio, although a bit damaged, and you yourself. The Gourmet is only one guy, right? He can't fight 5 opponents at once, and that is why saving the girl becomes a very easy task. The Gourmet can't defend, attack, and keep the girl captive all at once, and there you go, problem solved. But anyway, a fight breaks out and Nishio and Kaneki are struggling to keep up. Punches and kicks are exchanged, and the girl, amidst all of it, only barely escapes any hits. It doesn't take long until Kaneki and Nishio are practically defeated. They both are at the brink of death until, of course, our favorite bunny Toka enters the chat. Now initially she's able to keep up with the Gourmet, but the tables are turning fast. The Gourmet is way too powerful even for her. He eventually slams her away, grabs Kaneki and snaps his arm. As always, he is more of a burden than actual help. At this point, he's basically useless. I think it was clear that the Gourmet was a significantly stronger enemy than any other opponent our characters have thus far faced. They should have known better and therefore acted more thoughtfully. The biggest mistake they have made was lacking appropriate communication. No? I mean, this led basically to Kaneki's involvement with the Gourmet, Nishio's girlfriend being taken captive, and now even fighting the Gourmet like a dispersed Oompa Loompa squad. In my opinion, the best thing Kaneki and Nishio could have done was notifying the Quincy, leak the info of where to find the Gourmet, sneak into the back of the church, wait for the right moment to strike, and then save the girl without having to enter the fight. This would have saved a lot of trouble as well. In the movie though, our characters are almost defeated. But Toka, in a pretty erotic way if you ask me, takes a gentle bite from Kaneki's neck, re-energizes herself, finally reveals her fancy wing Kagune, and enters the final showdown with the Gourmet. Now together with Kaneki, who finally becomes useful, they can successfully defeat Tsukiyama and finally end the story of the Gourmet. Now because the ending would be too good, our Toka, being the disturbed person that she is, starts attacking the poor human girl, insisting on her being killed, fearing that if otherwise, she would expose their nature and cause all of them to be killed. But Nishio jumps in between, takes the hit, and saves his girlfriend one more time. The ending scenes of this movie are quite beautiful, to be frank. Even if the dialogue of this movie wasn't the best, the special effects and the overall story made a worthwhile watch. If you like the anime, you would probably enjoy the 2 live-action movies as well. By the way, if you have ever considered trying out a reliable VPN, we currently have one of the best deals available. Browsing the internet without one is just not a good idea. Atlas VPN masks your IP with 2 clicks only. It encrypts your data on unlimited devices so your whole family is safe alongside with you. PC, laptop, smartphone, no problem at all. Atlas VPN got you covered. Quite literally. Not only are you staying hidden like a modern day internet ninja, or our characters in this movie, but you also get fantastic perks along with it. We all love movies here, right? But many hidden gems are geo-restricted. That means depending on where you are, you have a completely different set of movies available to pick from. That sucks. With Atlas VPN though, you can relocate with just 2 clicks. Fancy a virtual trip to Japan, South Korea, the UK, or Germany? No problem. Now you can discover the global streaming content, including a lag-free, high-definition streaming experience wherever you are. But that's not it. With the premium version of Atlas VPN currently available for only $139 a month, you also get a data breach monitor that scans the World Wide Web to see if your email, passwords, or other sensitive data have been leaked. In short, Atlas VPN is the most inexpensive yet effective way to upgrade your internet experience for just $139 a month. This is unbeatable. So check it out yourself and convince yourself with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Stay hidden, stay safe, and don't miss out on this epic chance. Link in the description, and big thanks to Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. With that said, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I catch you guys again next week. Peace.